Most definitely party season, and your headquarters is Harry Buffalo, North Olmsted, all winter long. Harry Buffalo, join the herd. Sports Fix listeners, like us on Facebook today. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Have you gotten your copy of Cleveland's Finest yet? Highlighting the best moments, players, and media members in Cleveland sports history?
He won it! Milo hit a three-pointer on the sideline!
In-depth personal interviews with some of the top names in Cleveland sports fill the pages of this incredible book. Cleveland's Finest by Vince McKee is this year's must-have book for every Cleveland sports fan. Available now at Amazon.com. Get your copy today. Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck, home of the low price tire guarantee. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix live across the Sports Fix Radio Network. I told you we're moving fast today. Get ready to jump right back into it. Phone lines, guys. For those of you that missed it, I said earlier, not going to be open, and this is pretty much going to be a Thursday thing until in the second hour, late in the second hour of the show, because we've got boom, boom, boom. We got to hit them. We've got a full slate on Thursdays, and it kicks off 12:15 right here every Thursday. My next guest, the BSK Kendall Lewis. We're going to get some NFL picks down here as the season starts tonight. We'll look at it. We'll see what he's thinking for the Browns here, looking ahead, and all of that. Like I said, phones aren't open, but you keep it rolling. Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Fix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE, all one word. Email us thesportsfix@AOL.com. As I said, Jerry Myers, J-Rock, bringing you back into it. Going to the phone lines. Let's do that right now. Going right back to it. Kendall Lewis, the BSK on the phones. Kendall, how you doing this Thursday afternoon? Kickoff Thursday.
I'm doing all right, J-Rock. How are you?
Hey, I'm fantastic, man. I'm feeling good, man. It's a little extra pep in the step after the Indians bounced back last night, and then you got the first football game, and it's going to be a good one tonight with Seattle and Green Bay, and I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah, you know what? It's always been said that in the springtime, a young man's fancy turns to baseball, and I guess if that's true, then in my case, in the fall, a young man's fancy or a not-so-young man's fancy turns to football, because this is a great time of year. I love the autumn. The leaves get brown, and, you know, the air is crisper, less humid from the summer, and there's football played on Saturday and Sunday. You can't beat that.
And Friday, man. I just got into the gig. I picked up a gig this year doing some high school football play-by-play, and it really, last week I did my first game, and it's been a while since I've kind of been in that high school football mix. My son's just now a freshman, so he's just getting into it. So you lose track of that a little bit, man, but those Friday night lights will reinvigorate you a little bit, too, sometimes when you get burned out a little bit.
Yeah, good for you. That's excellent to be involved in. A few years back, I spent a couple of seasons as a college play-by-play guy, and I'm telling you, the Saturday afternoons where you go out and you do football for young guys who have no illusions about being professionals, who have not the prima donna attitude, because you've got some of that creeping into all levels of sports as sports becomes more about the financial instead of hard and preparation and the just love of the game. You get that where guys see themselves as great stars, and that's okay because that's what it takes. But I find that doing high school football and lower level college football is what it's all about. My dream at one point was to be Joe Tate, because I think Joe Tate inspired us all to go into that. But aside from that, and understanding that I was not going to be Joe Tate, because Joe Tate is one of the best ever, it came down to the love of the game, and I certainly have that. You certainly have that, and guys all over certainly have that. So, again, it's great to be back in fall and back in football season.
For sure, man. And now all the other games, the preseason, all of that's out of the way. The college games got rolling there, quickly. I know we don't talk much college, but I don't know how much you are into the Buckeyes here this season or whatever. If you are, what were your thoughts of that first game there with Navy? JT Barrett starting his career there. What are your thoughts?
Well, generally speaking, I'm not impressed with the football of Urban Meyer, and we'll use that as the backdrop. I liked him at Bowling Green. I liked him at Utah. I'm impressed that he's able to marshal talent at certain positions on the field and win in college. There's no question about that. He's an outstanding coach. But I'm kind of proprietary, kind of selfish when it comes to Ohio State football for this reason. I'm not a fan of any particular team but the Ohio State Buckeyes. And after 1995, I like all professional football. So sticking with the Buckeyes is what I do. And that's the only fan spot that I keep for myself. And I'm kind of selfish when it comes to the Buckeye football because I think Buckeye football should stand for something. I mean, I've spent a lot of time on the airwaves of the SEC country in Tennessee and Georgia, South Carolina. I mean, I've been all over the South, where Arkansas, where people really love their football. They tailgate. I mean, man, it's on a level that, I would have to say it even surpasses Ohio State. And the Ohio State tailgates are a zoo. I'm telling you. I mean, a good zoo, but it's a zoo. In the South, they do it at a level that most Ohioans have never seen. Even if they go to OSU every weekend in the tailgates, it's ridiculous. And they love their football. So when I'm in the South, what I hear is, you northern schools can't compete with us. Well, I'm a competitor. And I know that the tradition and the football players, both college and when they get to the pros, they stand up. The intelligence, the football acumen, all of that is there. But what I don't like about Urban Meyer's football is it's reduced to a mere physical display of football ability. That's it. No thought to it. No really, like you'll get a Ohio football player versus a Southern football player. The one thing they say is, well, players up north can't run like players down south. That's a myth. I mean, Ohio players and Big Ten players can run, but it's a certain style of football. I said this on Twitter earlier in the week, that the football that I grew up on, the football that I love, Woody Hayes, Three Clouds of Dust, the power, the precision, the make you quit football, the running against men football, we don't see that anymore. It's all feint and parry and speed and this and that and slickness, and that's what Ohio State football has become. Once I became used to seeing that out of the scarlet and gray, I'd have to say that the game on Saturday against Kenny Niumatalolo's Navy team was an excellent display of throwback football because Braxton Miller wasn't there to rely on his speed, deftness, quickness, liveness, running ability, all of that. When they get in trouble, they rely on Braxton Miller. Braxton Miller is not as an accomplished passer that I would like to see projecting to the next level, see? And so that's what was missing on Saturday. But into the breach steps C.J. Barnett. Now, C.J. Barnett is not the runner Braxton is. However, I think he's light years beyond Braxton Miller, even now, as a redshirt freshman, as a passer in this offense. And I think when Braxton Miller comes back, if he comes back, we'll have to, Urban Meyer will have to decide what he wants to do. This two-quarterback system that he ran at Florida for Chris Leak's senior season and Tim Tebow's freshman season, I don't think it is a good system for Ohio State because it doesn't give you a chance to really, in my opinion, beat the Georgias, the Alabamas, the South Carolinas on a regular basis in the playoff system that's to come. We know Ohio State's going to be there. If not this year, next. So what has to happen is C.J. Barnett has the look of a pocket passer on the make. And if they allow that to happen, I think the athleticism are right in. O-line, D-line, linebacker, D-back will all, if they allow it to happen. All that having been said, I thought Ohio State played an excellent game. When I was watching it, I didn't get that sense because we're remembering the time when Ohio State will play Navy, and that's 70-0. But this isn't that time. Ohio State couldn't beat Navy 70-0 if their lives depended on it. That's how good Navy is. So factoring in how good Navy is, how good Ohio State is, how they're still getting their sea legs without their quarterback, I thought it was an excellent effort, and it'll be a test on Saturday against Virginia Tech.
Yeah, that's what we were looking into our preview yesterday, Dan Wismar and I kind of said that about Virginia Tech, too. A totally different, and Coach Meyer said that you can't really look at the way you defend and have to game plan Navy compared to everyone else. And now with a bit more of a high-octane, more passing attack, you'll get that first look at the adjustments there on that side of Ohio State. So a completely different look this week at the defense of what they got. And as far as the skill players, I agree with you. If the other things can shake out, you do have a lot of athleticism at those skill positions that could play out over the next couple of years pretty nicely.
Yep, I think so. I'm very somebody asked me the other day on Twitter, they said, well, I'm not sure Ohio State is going to win 9, 10, 11 games. I think they'll win 8. I think they'll win 7. He said, what do you think? I said, I think Ohio State will be dead down the middle of the national title hunt because I don't see them losing more than 2 games. I don't see them losing one. I mean, Michigan State everybody's afraid of, but I don't see them losing to Michigan State. Now, the question becomes, if Ohio State has a tougher time with an opponent, with, say, a Michigan State, or Wisconsin, or whomever it is, I think Ohio State is going to suffer in the polls. Like I told somebody over the weekend, I said, well, if Ohio State wins over Navy and they don't shut them out, they'll drop in the polls, even if they win by double digits. Well, Ohio State went into the game at number, 5 or 4?
5. Yeah.
They came out of a game where they doubled up Navy. 34-17. Navy scored, 3 points after the half, I think? And Navy, Ohio State dropped, to 8th or 9th in the polls? How is it that you win and you drop against a quality opponent? Well, here's the reason. There is a bias across the country towards Ohio State. And the reason why is there has not been another college, and name them if you can. And I'm going to keep talking, and when you figure it out, you just jump in and blurt it out, what that school is. There has not been a school in 60 years who's been in the consciousness of America and has not left. There's not been one, but the Ohio State University. And the way Ohio State used to beat up people, it leaves these Southerners and these ACC people and all of these people across the country with bad feelings toward Ohio State. And that's normal because I used to hate the Pittsburgh Steelers because they beat my Browns every time they saw them. And it's the same thing with Ohio State. Ohio State used to beat up everybody every time they saw them. And they were always eligible for a bowl. And not just eligible, 5-8, 6-6, or 7-4. I'm talking about 11-1. I'm talking about 10-2 every year. Check the numbers there where they won't be in the AP top 10 or really ranked very highly. So for those reasons, people get sick of seeing Ohio State from their perspective, and it becomes a question of how can we punish them for being excellent, and that's the way they do it. So there's a lot involved in college football for us at being Ohio State fans, being MAC fans, and there's a lot involved for them being the SEC fans. And one more thing,
Yeah.
When you talk to people down south about